how did that happen? As we're getting into our fresh best of 5 and spawning in the top right hand corner of Tokamak, we have the red Zerg player. The red Zerg player, we have the South Korean Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Go. As we get into our fresh best of 5. And against Solar, he just experienced an intense series against Terrell, which went all the way to set ace match. We'll see how he can compare though and how his ZvP is looking against Trigger. Trigger, of course, he spent the majority of the year and even last year as well in South Korea. He recently did go back to Canada, at least just before DreamHack Dallas. Fun fact, currently Trigger, he's back in Korea. He's back in Korea. He's there alongside Clem and alongside Rainer. I don't know if anyone else is in Korea. I know that at least it's Trigger, Clem, and Rainer. I know those 3 are currently in Korea, training, practicing, preparing for EWC. I know that Estrella might. I'm unsure about Estrella. I know that Estrella was there last year. He might be there this year as well. I know that Estrella has been boot camping with some of the Shopify boys. Or with the Shopify team, I should emphasize, with Scarlet, with Björn, with Lambo, and with Harsum. They were in Canada together at the Shopify HQ. But I don't know if Estrella also went to Korea. We'll try to confirm in the coming days. We'll try to confirm. Who else is in Korea? But now though, we're settling in. Settling in, standard opener here out of Solar. Likewise, standard opener out of Trigger. Just gate, expand into Cybercore, hatch gas pool. Welcome to Tokamak, of course, one of the larger, more macro maps in the map pool. I say that, we did see an all-in previously in the ZvC, but that's specifically ZvC. Like here in ZvP, we expect to see a longer game. I do favor Trigger coming into a map like Tokamak. This is where he can thrive when it comes to turtling up on 3 bases, getting a 4th base, and getting into the mid-game in a much more comfortable position. It is more difficult for Solar to be the aggressor and to try to punish that. Not impossible, but more difficult. Now, when it comes to how Solar prefers this matchup, we see a lot of all-ins. Solar, he's very fond of going for 3-base all-ins in this matchup. Doesn't exclusively go for 3-base all-ins, but just very, very common, very popular. There are times where he's willing to tech, to be greedy, to tech up and to rush into lurker tech. That's another style that he is quite fond of as well. So we'll see what kind of mixture of the two we see throughout the series. Stargate open out of Trigger. Does open Stargates into Oracle. So we have a double adept shading behind the mineral line. Shade behind. Oh, does get a couple drone kills. 4 drones going down already. Good damage. 1 adept even escapes. I say escapes. Link speed is done and should be chased down, but despite that 4 drone kills, that is more than what should have happened. So a better start here for Trigger. Adept is caught. Oh, never mind. Does shade away. The Oracle's in position. And Trigger, he will save the adept. Oh. There's the expansion. Does run away. From here he does zone. Does defend. And we have a standard follow-up as well. So as we get a 3rd base up and running, as Oracles move out to harass, we have the Twilight Council, Forge, +1, Blink. Just building up, taking up into the mid-game. The Oracles, they find a Queen. Not bad. Queen does go down. Doesn't get many workers. Does pivot away. here, pivots back. Do have our lair in production here from Solar, so he does go lair first into Roach Warren. Interesting. Going for a delayed Evo Chamber, which means there's a high chance that this might be +1 range and that we might be rushing into Hydras. Oh. As drones to get behind the mineral line. I say that technically this could be, as the Oracle does survive, but this could be a rush into Hydra. Otherwise, we could be cheeky and we could throw down a Spire. That's also a tech option here for Solar. So we'll see if we go for the Spire or for said Hydra Den. I'm leaning more towards Hydras. Gases are being taken. It's going to be something very gas heavy. Gases are being taken. 4th base on the way. Base is denied. Nice pickup here from Trigger. As the expansion lair is now done. What do you have for us? There it is, Hydra Den. Okay, so Hydra Den alongside +1 range, or at least we're expecting that. So again, very tech heavy. And because we didn't rush into +1 melee, there's a high chance here that we might be taking up even further. There's a couple of different ways this can go. We'll get there. For now, the Oracles, they go back in. They're going to be deflected. Now, if Solar never starts an upgrade, then this is an all-in. And he's got the gas for it. Yeah, he's got plenty of gases. He's specifically going for the Hydra upgrades, and he's not touching the Evo Chamber. So because of that, there is a chance it's just going to be a link. Okay, there we go. Calm down. +1 range. +1 range has begun. There is an all-in where Solar, he actually just avoids Evo Chamber upgrades. He goes purely Link Hydra, and he does max out on 66 workers. Does have a 4th base on the way, but with that upgrade in production, there's a higher chance it's going to drone. We'll see. We'll see if he drones or not. We mentioned at the start of this game, at the start of the series, how Solar's very fond of 3-base all-ins. He's on 3-base saturation. He has the 4th base just for Larva. We're waiting to see if he drones or not. It doesn't look like it. Oh, hello. Okay. Is going to be droning. This is very tech heavy. Not the most efficient way of doing this, but it's going to be a Hydra Den into Spire. Okay. On the one hand, it's going to be late mutas. On the other hand, because Hydras are revealed, I mean, in your mind, Trigger, he's not going to be thinking muta tech. That's going to be the last thing in his mind. Storm is on the way. Solar does push. He does threaten. Has a massive army. Actually, he could still break through. It comes down to the storms. Comes down to the connections. We're still a couple of seconds away. Yeah, storm is ready. When we do connect. 2 storms will zone. Solar pulls away. He is running up a little bit. Taking extra gases. He's taking his gases. And as he backs off, Trigger, he's taking up into Sky Toss. And this would be ideal if Solo was backing off to take into Lurker Tech. True. Like, this is the correct thing to do from the side of Trigger. Unfortunately, he's just not aware that mutas are coming. Mutas are on the way. And Trigger, he has not scouted. He doesn't know. As, again, Trigger's doing everything that we should be doing here. Trigger, he's just trolling up on 4 bases. Taking to the skies. Zoning back the army. Oh god. That Solo does stand in the storms, but here come the mutas. Mutas into the main base is exposed, probe's gonna be going down. Now from here we can respond with Phoenixes. That's a lot of mutas. Yeah, +1 air attack, +1 range as well. We're going into mass muta. Hydra towards the main army, towards the 3rd. Soldiers are trying to keep up. Where are the storms? Trying to defend. Oracle goes down. Picking up a couple of mutas. Templar had been amassing. Landing one Storm. They still can trade against these Stalkers. Yeah, without Storm, the Stalkers are being overwhelmed. And this entire time, as Soul's been bleeding out Lings and Hydras, he's been replacing them with just more Muta. With more Mutalisks. Annual Pulse Crystals on the way. Again, thankfully, Trigger, he has a tech to switch into Phoenixes in such a way. Oh! Use a catch at 1-1, 2 Eye Templar go down. Nice snipes. Picks up 2 Eye Templar. But that's still a lot of Archons. That's still a terrifying death bull of an army. Oh god. Archon shot goes off. A lot of Mutas go down. And Trigger's just pushing. Yeah, he's just committing. From here, Soul's best bet is the base trade. Yeah, just go for the base trade. Does hit the fourth. Does hit the third as well. Both bases under fire. And Trigger commits. We're just committing to the base trade here. And again, this is the best chance for Solar. In a head-on fight, Solar, I don't think he has enough. But in a base trade, he has plenty. As Phoenixes are getting called out, they're going down. Finally, Trigger gets across over. This is just so late. And Storms, they catch some of the drones. Some of them do escape, though. They barely get away. As we're still just rallying more Lings, rallying more Mutas. And this is just taking too long for Trigger. He's out to 2 bases. Stalker's getting caught out. Trigger, he does not escape. We have contamination as well. Let's go. That does contaminate. And Trigger, he does now hit to his second base. But there's still the natural, there's still the main, there's still the fifth. Meanwhile, Solar busting into the main. There's one Storm, not bad. Storm does connect. Second Storm goes off. Ooh, a little bit premature. And Trigger's racing back. He's racing back home. And can he hold on? Does he have any Storms? He does. Okay. He can fight. He can take this fight. The music getting low. Storms are going to be coming in. Against Solar, he cannot fight head on, but he's killing every single probe. 66 workers falling. There's no Stalker support. He's going to get surrounded. Yeah, he's going to get surrounded here. Eye Templar, they go down. Where are the Storms? They're gone. There's one Eye Templar left. Now none. Yeah, final Eye Templar goes down. GG gets called, and with that, Solar, he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Solar, he does take a lead in the series, taking a very intense back and forth. A very cheeky build here by Solar to open up Ling Hydra, and then to switch from Hydra into Muta play is something you don't see too often, just because they're both very gas intensive, and it's very inefficient because the Mutas hit so much later, but they're also more of a surprise, because you know, your opponent at least expects you to switch into Mutas after opening up Hydra in such a way. As we mentioned, Trigger, he was getting ready for Lurkers. He was getting ready, he was expecting Lurker tech. He would have been in a beautiful position against Lurkers, but against Mutas, he was torn apart. He was torn apart. And we saw that, alas, we saw that Solar, he forced a base trade. Solar, he thrived in that base trade as well. He was in every single base already. And Trigger, he was forced back home. He just wasn't able to find as much success across the map. And he was torn apart. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Going to be loading into Ley Lines. Let's go. Let us go. As we are loading into that second game. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the red Zerg player. We have the South Korean Zerg, representing Team Falcons, leading the series 1-0. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Basilisk. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and tie the series up and make a series out of this. It is a Trigger. We go. go. We're settling in. But now we're settling in. We do have our initial openers. So far, so good. Again, when it came to Solar, he was able to successfully hide his tech. As we mentioned before, Trigger, he was well prepared for something greater, for Hydra into Lurker, who was getting ready for it. Not for Mutas. Not for Mutas. So we'll see if he's able to get a better handle on what Solar's taking into. This actually reminds me a little bit of the ZvC that we just had, with Solar hiding his tech and catching successfully so at times several off guard. Likewise, the same happened last game as well, where he was able to keep his tech hidden and catch Trigger off guard. With what? With his pants down, baby. With his pants down. Aye, aye, aye. So from here we're settling in. Players are going to be joining. Solar forced to take the unnatural natural, forced to expand elsewhere. Once again, Stargate opener. Again, we don't really expect any deviation in the early game, like Stargate opener into Oracle into a third base. Like early game ZvP is pretty played out at this point. There are definitely some diverging builds that you can go for, like a Twilight Council opener or a Robo opener, or Stargate into Forge. Stargate into Void Ray, for example. There are definitely some niche builds, but they're niche. Like they're not very common, unfortunately. And Trigger, he's not really one to deviate too much. Like, we expect a standard opener out of Trigger almost every game. Our eyes are mainly on Solar when it comes to how he deviates and how he takes up. Good night. Oh, buenas noches. Buenas noches. Buenas noches. As Trigger is setting up for his third. Likewise, Solo does move in with his Lings. Oh, does get us around, but the Oracle's in position, and with that Trigger, he will hold. He will deflect. He'll claim his third. Third base on the way. Behind this, we're waiting to see our Eva Chamber, I should say our Forge and Twilight Council timing, to see if a Trigger does go for some hidden tech. Oracle does step in. And gets a drone. Not bad, gets a couple of workers. Solar trying to keep up. That is going to be an earlier Twilight Council. Okay. You have my attention. Earlier council here out of Trigger. Now, with an earlier council, this could be one of two things. I'm leaning towards Glaive Adepts, right? We could just rush into Glaive Adepts from here and try to catch Solar off guard and pop off with Mass Adept. Or this could be for early Blink in towards a 3-base all-in with an 8-gate Blink timing. So is it going to be Blink? Is it going to be Glaives? Bearing in mind here, oh, okay, Blink. So late Forge here by Trigger, but an earlier Twilight Council. With this, we can rush into early Blink, we can be active early on, and the goal, I believe, should be to break the fourth, assuming that we are going into Blink. Okay, there we go, Blink is on the way. So with this early Blink timing, as we mentioned, it does allow Trigger to be active earlier on the map, and the goal there should be to break the expansion, to be active, to break through, to be able to trade and catch Solar off guard. Solar has been droning, getting his fourth base, +1 range, +1 melee is on the way, interling Hydra. There's a safety Roach Warren, so in case it was going to be Glaive Adepts, Solar would be ready for it. Oh. So he would be ready. Vice Temple Archives on the way. Okay, rushing towards Storm. Thinking we should be seeing Trigger move out soon. At least I'm hoping that's going to be the case here, as otherwise Solar is going to be happily droning, saturating. Oh, and once again, we're going for a Spire. This time, we're not hiding it anywhere near as much. Last game was a later Spire after the Hydra production. This time, just straight Spire. Straight Spire here out of Solar. And Trigger, he has to be active. He does scout. He does check the third at least. Blink is almost done. For now, staying at home gets surrounded. Oh, brutal surround. Blink is not yet complete. And I will lose a lot of Stalkers. The fourth base is going to be denied as well. Yeah, Trigger not quite in position. The Oracle's out on the map as well. Base is denied. Blink is now going to kick in. But too late to save the expansion. Too late to save the Stalkers. And Trigger's in a rough position. I mentioned earlier that I expected him to go for an earlier timing, but he delayed his gateways. Like, the gateways were delayed in favor of Storm. So Trigger, he's just stuck at home. He's stuck at home. Solar, he's free to drone, free to tech, free to do whatever he wants. And this more passive style here from Trigger is being punished. At this point, it's being punished. With all these High Templar, I'm pretty sure Trigger would have wanted to be active here at this point, but he lost how many? He lost 3 Stalkers, he lost a couple of Adepts, he lost a little momentum, he's turtling up back at home, throwing down stasis traps, just being more defensive instead. And with that, Solar is just freely taking more bases. He's freely just enjoying his map control. Now we do have some safety cannons in position, even though Trigger, he hasn't scouted the Spire. He at least has some defenses. Oh god! Meanwhile, Trigger doing his best hero impression. Lings, they do flood in. Oh god, never mind. Lings, they were hotkeyed with the mutas, so they actually ran in, then ran out. So Lings are dealt with. Mutas are revealed. Phoenix production is beginning. Is commencing. And so far Trigger is keeping up. Okay. Keeping up with the mutas. Storm will zone away. And the mutas, they haven't really achieved too much damage yet. What I will say is that Solar does at least have map control, and he's freely still expanding and droning and taking more gases. But the army itself hasn't done much. So my big concern is, what is Solar achieving with his map control? So far, making mutas. And mutas, they can be quite fragile. Speaking of, Storm goes off, gets High Templar. One High Templar goes down, we need more Storms. Archon gets surrounded. More Storms are coming in. Here's zoning away. Does zone away. Mutas, they try to hit the natural once again. They do get another High Templar. They tank a Storm. Oh, good. They tank an Archon shot. The Mutas are very low. Jesus. They take a lot of hits. Gonna be zoned away. Solar, he's maxed out. One good Storm away from knocking down all these Mutas. Speaking of, Storm goes off. Mutas still very low. Solar, he has to calm down. Trigger attempted to push. Again, this army, it's just so fragile. Here comes the Storms. Storm once again. It's close. Archon volley goes off. Mutas are going down. And Trigger just stumbles out of control. Yeah, he breaks out. And even though Solar had so much map control this game, he didn't achieve much with it. Like, he mass expanded. Yes, he invested into Mutas, but the Mutas, they did not pay for themselves. And now it's go time. And I'll be honest, Solar he can't engage. He cannot touch this army. He has the base trade. But this time he's in a worse position. This time he's late to go for the base trade. Army pushes into the natural. Zealot Archon towards the left-hand side. Oh, snipes the Spire, not bad. Does snipe the Spire. Oof, another storm connects, and another as well. Oh god, the storms are connecting. Now, of course, mutas they can regenerate. True, they can regenerate their HP. Takes down the third, takes down the fourth. At the same time, other bases are still going down. A couple of drones do get away. Does escape. There's a recall. Does recall back home. What does he recall? Recalls High Templar. Storms are connecting. And Trigger, he holds. Yeah, he does hold back at home. Likewise, he knocks down so many expansions. Takes down the natural, the fourth, the fifth. The third base does barely survive. The main base should be going down. Trigger's army is fragmented. And mutas, they can try to catch him out. He's going to try to consolidate. Oof. Does end a couple of storms. But Trigger, he has to bring everything together. The High Templar exposed. Storms are connecting. Oof, and GG gets called. Solar, he has nothing left. He lost every expansion, and Trigger ties up the series 1-1. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Again, the mutas got out, the Spire got unscouted, the mutas were unscouted. We saw Solar mass expanding, he had full map control, and he was doubling down into mass muta, but as we saw, mutas in a head-on fight, they are fragile, they don't really do too much, and this time Trigger defended quite well. He defended very nicely here against the mutas. He didn't really sustain any damage from the mass muta. And once the mutas took enough damage, once they took enough storm hits, we just counterattack. Trigger, he just counterattacked, he just pushed out across the map, and just snowballed out of control. GG. GG, well played. Again, a Ling muta army just cannot fight head-on, not against a mass storm Archon Stalker composition. And Trigger, he just sent it. And from here, we're going into Game 3. We're going into Game 3, we'll see who takes the lead in the series, who does gain momentum, as we jump into that third game. Let's go. Let us go. Bam. As we're getting into Game 3 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Incorporeal, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons. Being forced into the Ace Man, into a tied series. We'll see if we can bring it back. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Here we go. Finally got around to watching Tages play in SC Evolution. The OP Protoss Ball strikes again, even in Brood War. Kappa. Yeah, Tasia, he's looking in form. He's looking good. I didn't expect him to perform as well as he did, so I was pleasantly surprised that Taja's actually... It looks like he's actively playing and practicing StarCraft Evolution. Right now, I would say he's kind of on the bottom end when it comes to like Terran players. Like Kiwin is still looking more in form than Tasia. You could argue Supernova as well. Obviously Bjorn and some of the other Korean Terrans, Quanta, Bratok. But he's looking like well practiced, I should say, which is good to see. Which is really cool to see. So I look forward to seeing more of Tasia. Look forward to seeing more. I do hope we see him in more than just SE Evolution. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't expect that. But you know, maybe it works as like a gateway drug. But from my understanding, there's like a community of like Korean players that exclusively like play StarCraft Evolution that are really into it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the STC is the person that actually dragged Tasia in for SE Evo. But regardless, really cool to see. And we'll be seeing more of Tasia in the coming days, actually. He played in a show match. I say in a show match. There was an invitational. It was the StarCraft Evolution Masters number 4. So Tasia did play an invitational. And we're going to be covering that, I think, either, not tomorrow, in 2 days. In 2 days' time, we'll be going over that. So there'll be more of Tasia and some of the other players as well. I look forward to it. As to now, we're going to be opening up. Once again, standard openers. We do see Trigger being in a bit of annoyance here. The goal here is to buy some time for the Adepts. Oh, and can he buy enough time? Pylon is killed, not cancelled. That's a big investment here. The Adept does arrive. And we'll zone away. And again, that was a big commitment here from Trigger. Once again, doesn't deny the expansion. Being so annoying. Does delay. Now, if Trigger was able to cancel the pylon in time, I think that would be perfectly fine. Because he lost the pylon here, it's a little bit harder to justify. As Solar now expands. A late third. Late third base. As well, the purpose of the pylon block was to just buy enough time for the Adepts, which did kind of work, but was costly. Behind this Trigger getting into his own Oracle production. Building up. I saw some SE EVO games being streamed on Chijik. Yes. There's actually a lot of Korean streamers specifically on Chijik. As I mentioned, Rumiath, he streams. God, I want to say, does Prome stream? Maybe Prome as well. Supernova streams. Kiwian, of course. The STC streams. Like, there's a decent amount of Korean streamers on Chijik that stream StarCraft Evolution. As the Oracle does dip in, gets 1, 2, 3 drone kills. 3 drones going down. Not bad. Over here, it does pull away. Again, we're building up into a standard follow-up here. Twilight Council most likely into Forge. I was really concerned with Trigger last game just because of how much map control he gave Solar, but thankfully Solar was going into Mutas. I don't expect him to go Mutas again. We've seen Mutas twice now in this series. First succeeded, second less so. Now a higher chance we're just going to calm down and get into a more standard game instead. And by standard, I still mean that we might see a 3-base all in, but we'll see. Going Lair first. Lair before Evo Chamber. This tells us there's a high chance that we're going into +1 range into Hydra production instead, but we'll keep an eye on Solar. As Oracles they dive in, they spot the Lair. They get behind the mineral line looking for an Evo Chamber. No hidden tech. Adepts are being active. And Solo for now just being safe. Does have the wall ready. Oracles, they get a couple more drones, not bad. 3, 4, oh, almost 4. 3 more drones going down. As we mentioned, it's going to be Hydra. So Hydra's going to be on the way. Just like the last game that we saw this on, just like game 1, I should emphasize, we're looking to see if we actually invest into +1 range. So like he might just skip it. If he skips range, then we are going to commit into an all-in. But there it is. Range is on the way, so we're building up into Ling Hydra. Oh, and this time we are taking up into Lurkers. Okay. Infestation is on the way. This is for Lurker Tech, which means Solar he will saturate his 4th base. If you recall, this is what Trigger was expecting in Game 1, and then he was blindsided by Mutaplay instead. Now, what that means coming into the series is that Trigger, he might second-guess himself when it comes to taking into Sky Toss. He might not be as confident. As we do see a massive gateway explosion. Okay, never mind. Massive gateway explosion here. We're not taking. At this point in the game, at this stage of the game, we would expect to see a Temple Archives into Storm or a Bay into Colossus. We see no splash damage, instead Gateway Explosion with a Prism going for a massive push, a massive timing early on with purely Gateways. Changeling does confirm the gateway counts. He's aware. Hive is on the way, Lurker Den is on the way, and can Trigger break Solar before Lurker Tech? That's the goal. That is the goal. Here comes the Prism. Here comes the timing. He's got, I believe, 10. Jesus. So 3 base, 10 gate all in. Prism has arrived, and here comes the Warp in. Yeah, 8 Stalkers at a time. Warp in extra Stalkers towards the end. And again, the goal here is to just break Solar here and now. Remember, no Storm, no Colossus, no further tech, no nothing. Lings, they attempt to counterattack. Stalker's pushing in. Against Solar, he was just so greedy here, taking up. And so far, solid kiting. Solid blink. Yeah, the blink control here is solid. Takes down the Hydras, takes down the Queens. Solar's exposed. At this point, he can just dive in. He can just dive on top of the army. Yeah, Solar getting caught with his pants down. The boys are being pulled. Oh, does throw away the Oracles. Oracles are thrown away, but it's fine. At this point, it's perfectly fine. As Trigger, he should overwhelm. From here, starts stepping forward. He could just blink on the... There we go. I was like, he could just blink on top of the army. GG gets called, and Trigger, he will take a 2-1 lead in the series. Whew, GG. A much more aggressive game here from Trigger than we expected. Again, Trigger, he did decide to go for a big 3-base all-in, 8 gateways on 3 bases, no further tech, no Storm, no Colossus, no nothing, just pure Stalkers with +1, and that happened to coincide with Solar taking up. Solar, he wasn't really too concerned with scouting or with confirming what was happening. Solar, he was taking up into a Lurker Den, he was droning, taking extra gases, and getting a Hive as well, and none of that helped in the defense. GG. GG well played. Again, Solar, he was just a little bit too greedy, and again, he didn't scout, or he wasn't able to confirm the all-in that was coming his way. Didn't realize how much danger he was in, and with that, we're getting into game number 4. Let's go. We're jumping to game 4. Game 4 going to be on Ultra Love. Oh my god. And we'll see. We'll see if Solar can bounce back and force that ace match, or Trigger can take it from here. Let's go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner here of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons. Oh. Down in the series, we'll see if you can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Solar. And spawning in the bottom-hand corner, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. Go. As we are going to be settling in. As we are going to be committing. And again, Trigger, he's 1 game away from claiming the series. The pressure's on Solar. Now, something that we have seen a lot of here on Ultra Love, it's very common to see all-ins. 2-base all-ins, 3-base all-ins. The rush distance by ground is short. Oh, as it looks like there was a bit of a pause. But the rush distance by ground is very short here between the 2 players, and as a result, we often see a lot of German taxis. German taxis are very trendy here to commit with queens, with roaches. Looks like there was a bit of a pause at one point. Shout out to Sefidofe. Sefidofe, of course, the admin for the event. He's an ex-Brazilian caster, by the way. Ex-caster from Brazil. Nowadays, he does play a little bit, plays, and of course does admin, does help run events. But again, right, I should emphasize, the rush distance by ground between this 3rd base and this base here is very short. Likewise, you can also wedge yourself in between the bases, in between the 3rd and the natural as well. Can't commit. So here we are setting up. seeing the chats discussion about Twitch being banned in Korea. Twitch, as I said, basically, Twitch, they don't provide their service to Koreans. What that means is that they don't provide any Twitch partnerships or any monetary compensation. So technically, people can stream from Korea, but they don't get paid. So they don't receive like any ad revenue or AdSense. They don't get any money from Twitch subscriptions either. So they're de-incentivized from streaming using the Twitch platform. They don't get any monetary compensation. So that's why all the Koreans left, and that's why Chijik and Soup did open up, or I should say Chijik opened up. Soup as that platform is just Afrika. They just rebranded. But that's why a lot of Koreans switched to either Soup, to Chijik, or to YouTube. They also switched to YouTube as well. Twitch isn't allowed to provide monetization to Korea due to Korea's laws, from my understanding. No, Twitch, they decided to pull out. Like, they decided to stop that service. Stop providing services to Korea. Which is why there was a lot of outrage from the Korean scene. And fun fact, it's also why the Chijik platform was very last minute. Like, a shout out to those working on Chijik, of course, but like it was more of a last kind of minute endeavor to kind of like as a band-aid solution to have something for a lot of the Koreans to fall back on after like Twitch pulled out. I believe Chijik is from Naver, right? If I'm not mistaken. I believe Naver's behind it. So I'm here, Oracles, that do commit in. Oh. Must be some hidden reasons. I mean, they're not hidden reasons, they're public reasons. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, the fees that you're referring to, basically I believe there were excess fees on Twitch, because they're not, like, local or national, like, as a service. So they didn't have as many benefits as, like, as Soup, for example, like, whose monetary costs are less. Just because of like a national service. So like that is correct. Like it's just cheaper for them. Regardless, we Lings, they actually get a surprising amount of damage here. The Oracles are out of position. Aye. Yeah, Lings, they poke in 6, 7, 8 probe kills. This should not have happened. Unfortunately, the army wasn't quite in position. Shield barrier wasn't quite done either. And this is getting more than it really should have. Oof. Yes. As Mido was saying, yes, the fees were higher from like international like services. I don't know if that means that Twitch was operating at a loss. I do know that it means they were making less money. I don't know if it's confirmed that they were operating at a loss or not. It's possible that they just didn't feel like the money that they were earning was worth it, though. Meanwhile, Sol's going for the all-in. I do apologize for being a little bit distracted for this game, but coming into this, it is going to be a German taxi. As we mentioned, this is going to be a 3-base all-in, though, not a 2-base all-in, but it's going to be 3 bases. We have Roaches, we have Lings, we have Ravagers, Queens are moving out, Overlord speed is done, and here comes the taxi. I say the taxi, we're just walking. We're just walking across the map. Let's go. And again, this is quite common here on this match. I'm sorry, I should say on Ultra, that's why we brought this up previously. With that trigger, he does kite back, does pull away. Distraction, yeah, I'll stop paying attention to the chat. It's all good. But from here, does commit in. And Trigger, he's not quite ready for this. Again, there were just so many losses earlier. 7 pros went down from the Ling run by. So brutal losses. With that, the shield barriers are not done. Yolin has arrived. You're always spreading creep here with the overlords. We can transfuse. Yeah, with that Trigger, he is pinned back. Behind us, we're just rallying. Again, solo, the 4th base just for Larva. Just for Larva. No drones, no saturation. Cutting workers at under 3 base saturation as well. Oof. That Baze do graze the army. And Ling's moving in towards the natural. And again, this is what's brutal about specifically Ultra Love, is that you can wedge yourself in between the bases. You can apply pressure here to the 3rd base and towards the natural. With that, Ling's they bust in. They bust in towards the main. Probes are going down. No, we're infesting the Nexus. Not like this. And GG gets called. GG gets called. It just becomes too much. And Solar does tie the series up 2-2. GG. GG, well played. Again, Ultra Love known for this aggression. It's just really hard to defend on this map just because of that short rush distance and because of how difficult it is to defend both your natural and the 3rd base at the same time. We saw that shield batteries were on the way, but they were late shield batteries out of Trigger. It was a late realization of what was happening. And with that, GG. GG, well played. We're now getting into our next game, getting into the ace match. Let's go. Let us go. So we're getting into game 5. Game 5 is going to be on Persephone. Let's go. Persephone, another one of these smaller maps. Aggression is also favored in this map as well. I say that this is more of a map of extremes. We either see some shorter games on Persephone or some longer games, depending on if you can establish yourself on 4 bases. We'll see if we can get there. We'll see if we can get there as we're loading into game 5 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Persephone. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Team Falcons. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. We go. So we are moving out. And again, welcome on all to Persephone. Again, Persephone has a shorter rush distance by ground, a more direct rush distance as well. So we have seen a lot of successful all-ins, similarly German taxis. But what I will say is that your 3rd and 4th base are a lot more secure on this map, more so than on Ultra Love. As you can see here, the entrance towards the 3rd base is a little more by the wayside. It's a little more out towards the left-hand side instead. Likewise, there is a ramp, there's high ground elevation here that you can use to defend. And here on the right hand side as well, we have some more choke points. We have some more areas where you can muster up a stronger defense than on Ultra Love. And again, if you can slow the game down, you can slow this down to a crawl, cut the map in half, and end up in the late game. We can take it to the late game here if we can survive on 4 bases. So we'll see how players will approach this. But now, hatch gas full. Standard opener out of Solar. And likewise, Trigger going for his own gate expand. Here we go. So now we are going to be settling in. And again, we don't really expect anything too crazy early on. Now, we've already seen that Trigger, he's willing to go for his own aggression and his own all-ins. We saw that on Incorporeal. True, we saw that earlier. So that's still going to be on the table here. We'll also have to keep an eye on Trigger. I don't expect to see another 3-way all-in like we just saw in Ultra Love 2 games in a row. I feel like that would be a rough call to make from the side of Solar. It worked wonders last game, but again, Ultra Love kind of favors that kind of style as well. It's also why we often see Ultra Love vetoed in best of 3s, but in a best of 5, that becomes available. Becomes more viable. Again, more so like Torches or Lost Fantasy or Maganatha. Solo claiming his third. Stargate opener out of trigger. Again, so far Stargate every game so far without fail. And trigger, he hasn't really deviated into Void Ray based openers and then kind of rush into Sky Toss. Just opening up Oracle. And this time he should be able to maintain his third base. A big part of that as well is going to be whether or not he can keep these two Adepts alive. If they go down early, then they can trigger a counterattack. Speaking of, does come into the shade. He gets one, he gets two. Just one. Yeah, one drone kill. Picks up a couple of Zerglings. Doesn't get much more. But does shade away. Does shade away. So his third base should be safe and secure. Oracle in towards the main. Let's get a drone. Does go down. Solo pokes in, but again the Adepts are in position. Trigger is perfectly fine. And we're still waiting for our tech of choice. We could go faster Lair, faster Evo Chamber, faster Roach Warren. What's it gonna be? Standard follow-up here out of Trigger, +1 and Twilight Council. Looks like +1 and Blink is gonna be Lair first out of Solar, so fast Lair out of our Zerg player. With the Lair before Evo Chamber, this looks like we're rushing into Hydras. Technically, this could be a rush into Muta, right? We could see a hidden Spire. The rush distance by air is quite short on this map, so Muta play is an option. The Oracle does not scout. We're expecting Hydras, but I mean, could still be Muta. Oracle pokes in, gets eyes on the Roach Warren. No Evo Chamber yet. Does see gas is being taken, which means there should be a Lair. So Trigger is piecing it all together. Oh, that's around. Dusts around, does catch out the Adepts, gets two. Two Adepts do go down. And we're just going for the all-in, okay. I was waiting to see, I was like, are we going for the Hydrogen or the Spire? What's it going to be? It's just an all-in, okay. So this is a very similar build to last game. I say similar build, it's basically the same build. We're going for a 3-base all-in, the 4th base is just for Larva. We're going for Overlord Speed, we're going for a German Taxi. Ooh, we actually have some Ling drops alongside this, actually, okay. So the goal here, the ideal, is that you do distract, you push with your main army towards the natural and towards the third, at the same time you drop into the main. Ideally this happens at the same time though. Solar, he's a little bit premature with this. As a result, he's giving Trigger time to react. Overlord Speed is revealed, that's a sign. And Trigger, he's gonna need some side defense here in the main base to defend, because he's leaving so much supply in the main. Okay, he's pulling out. But again, Solo's already showed his hands. We need more side defense here. Trigger is going for his own 10 gate. Yes. Okay. So Solo's going for a 3-base all-in, the same build that we saw in Ultra Love. Meanwhile, Trigger, he's going for a 10 gate all-in, the same build that we saw in Incorporeal. So the all-ins, they're facing off against each other. Let's go. Who do we favor in a head-on fight? I was gonna say I favor Solar. Nice Stasis. Stasis goes off. Stasis does go up. Yeah, Roaches, they just collapse on the army. They bully back to Stalkers. Trigger, he cannot push into this. It's not gonna happen. There we go. Cannons are on the way. At least in the main, at the natural. Trigger, he's not teching. So there's no Storm, there's no Colossus. Trigger, he's not going to scale well into a longer game. And Solo, he just dives on in. Yeah, he dives on in. Trigger, he starts charge. Going for the Massive Warping as well. Do we land the piles? Oh! Not quite. Does pull away. Does pull away. As well. Trading with the army. Does trade, but again, Stalkers, they're trading with Lings. Brutal losses. Oh! Battles can't connect. Wow, doesn't connect. DC Solo peel off a couple of units. Again, Solo he has not been joining this entire time. He does transfer, but it has not been joining. Neither has Trigger. Like, we're still all in each other. Both players still hyper committed. Does it with the bile. Stasis goes off. Not bad. Stasis does connect, but Lings, oh, they bust through the third. There's nothing to defend. There's nothing here. Again, no cannons, no shield batteries, no defensive setup. Because Trigger was all in. And Solo's outscaling him. He's just outscaling him at this point. He kills the third base. Ay, ay, ay. And again, because Trigger was all in, that third base means even more. He cannot sustain himself, not on two bases. And not like this, Lings, they bust in as well. They break into the natural. Trigger, he has enough for one extra warp in. And that's all he's going to have. And Solo, he's maxed. Solo, he's maxed out. He has a massive army to work with. I think at least he does have a third up and running. More than I can say for Trigger. He's moving in. I mean, he's trading efficiently for himself. True. He's being efficient. But he's still bleeding out far too much. Yeah, so many Stalkers going to be going down. And there are no reinforcements. There's no way to replenish this. And with that Solo, he does it. He takes it. He will overwhelm. There's just nothing behind this. He counterattacks at the same time, making sure there is no third. Stalkers are falling. Oh god, the piles are connecting as well. And with that Solo, he will claim the series again. Trigger, he did bring us all the way to the ace match. And a crazy way to end the series as well. For both players to just all in each other. But as we saw, like, Solar, his army just scales a little bit better into a longer game. It was also brutal that Trigger, he had no defenses back at home. So losing the third base means he just could not sustain himself. If Solo was droning and taking, then Trigger would have been a little bit more successful here. Also, Trigger was probing and taking, would have been more successful as well. It's the risk you take. It's the risk you take, man. Yeah. It's the gamba. Stalkers, they drop into the main. They're trying to harass again. Trigger is trying to expand. Trying to set anything up. I mean, we don't really have much to be. We don't have any workers to begin with. 5 more probes going down. Brutal connections, and here comes Solar. And racing across the map. Of course, this is Trigger's tournament life on the line as well. He was here in a qualifying match to make it to the playoffs. But alas, won't quite make it through. Came so close though, so close. And honestly, I can see him taking this series as well. Could have taken this series, could have taken down Solar. Very close. Yeah, we just rolled the dice here for the final game. Both players did, to be fair. And with that 17 probe kills. Takes down the mineral line, chases down the main army. And he breaks through. He breaks through once again into the natural. There's nothing left. No. Yeah, there's just not much left here. Takes down the probes. 24 probe kills. Yeah. And even the Queens waddle in. They made it. They made it across the map. GG gets called, and Solar, he will claim the series 3-2, advancing on to the playoffs. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Solar. Again, and shout out to Trigger, as he did force the ace match, went all the way to game 5. Again, he had his own strong moments in this series as well. This final game, it was just a really awkward game state to be in, just because both players, they committed into their own builds, into their own all-ins, kind of not aware of each other, I should say, and as a result, we saw that Solar, he was able to outscale Trigger there. More importantly, he was able to counterattack and kill the third base of Trigger to stifle him, to knock him down. Again, when you're going for an all-in, your bases are even that much more important, your workers that much more important, just because you're so limited in how many workers you have, because you're cutting worker production. You don't really have any excess workers or excess bases to fall behind, so what you have is that much more important. With that, GG. With that, GG, well played. With that Trigger, he did run out of steam, ran out of bases, ran out of economy. GG. GG, well played, and Solar will claim it. And with that, that is going to be our final series of the initial broadcast. Here we go. We just wrapped up, I think it was, I want to say, was it 6 or 8 best of 5s? Let's catch up. Let us catch up here. Bam, here we go. So these are all the matches that we did cover via replays from DreamHack Dallas. The rest of the matches we covered live, of course. We were there at the event. I mean, I say there at the events. We were one of the side streams covering the event live. And let me just quickly wrap this up. So it was Serral taking down Solar at 3-2. And then at the very end here, Solar takes down... Oh, hold on. Solar takes down Trigger 3-2. 2 ace matches. Let's go. 2 ace matches here. So in the end, these were other matches we did cover, of course. I do recommend the VODs, a lot of really fun series. We had Mario vs Showtime, Shin vs Showtime, Hero and Rainer, Clem and Classic, Serral and Solar, and Trigger and Solar at the very end of our coverage. And with that, we have casted everything at DreamHack Dallas. There we go. Of course, we were casting the playoffs as well. We were co-streaming the final day. We had permission to co-stream. All the VODs are available on YouTube. Again, this is from last month, of course, from DreamHack Dallas. But we are not done in today's broadcast. We still have one more match to go. It is going to be a best of 7 show match here. We were actually having a brief discussion about StarCraft Evolution earlier. For those that are curious, StarCraft Evolution is a different game mode. It is a mod in StarCraft which does pit together brutal races against SC2 races. We've been casting quite a lot of StarCraft Evolution as of late. We were even discussing Tasia. He actually came back like a week ago, or I think now 2 weeks ago. He came back to StarCraft specifically only to compete in StarCraft Evolution. So it's been exciting to see some returning old faces like the STC as well. And speaking of the STC, we actually have a show match from the STC. Let's go. The STC, he is of course an ex-pro gamer. He's a Korean Terran from back in Heart of the Swarm. Very fond of the STC and near and dear to our hearts as well. Specifically for the CranKy Ducklings, we have some references to the STC. That's where the Sparkling Tuna Cup comes from, by the way. Is a reference to the SSC, and lo and behold, he just shows up randomly many years later, casting once again. But he did organize a show match, a best of 7 between Bjorn and Shin. So we're going to be going on a break. I do need some time to set up all the overlays to get all the matches ready. But yes, we do have a best of 7 show match ready between Bjorn and Shin, specifically in StarCraft Evolution. If you haven't seen this before, strap yourselves in. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It is a nice breath of fresh air. Personally, I still enjoy StarCraft 2 more than SE Evolution, but it's nonetheless a nice change of pace here, and I can enjoy both. For now though, we're gonna be going on a short break in preparation for that. Let's go. Only 70 supply down. True. The SE is gonna be like 90 years old. Oh no, he's like younger than Ryung, I think. Smurge. But great to see him back. Clem Korean. Oh no, sorry, my apologies. Sorry, I'll fix that. Clem is in Korea, but he's not Korean. True. My bad. There we go. But yes, we're going to be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our next series. We'll have a best of 7 between Bjorn and Shin. We'll see you soon after the break. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.